That is to say, they have outright admitted the UK government is reaching out to other networks, asking them to remove Russell Brand and take away his income because he was accused. Allegations from a decade to 2 decades ago. This is amazing. They said, we are also looking at the use of social media, including on Rumble, where he issued his preemptive response to the accusations made against him by the Sunday Times and Channel 4 dispatches. While we recognize that Rumble is not the creator of the content published by Mr. Brand, we are concerned that he may be able to profit from his content on the platform. Think about what they're saying right here. The UK government is outright saying, if you commit any crime ever, you should not be allowed to live at all. What does Russell Brand do for a living? He's a personality. He's an actor. He communicates. He talks. They take his shows down. They try to take his podcast down. YouTube actually demonetizes his show. They're basically saying he should not be allowed to make a living anymore for any reason, even though he's never been convicted of a crime. Or I should say, I don't know if he's been convicted of any crime, but in this instance, he's only been accused.
Well, and he hasn't even been accused on a criminal level, right? It was just the article that came out. I mean, it's a pure...
There is an investigation.
Oh, is it what?
Well,
but because of the article, right?
Right.
So, and it seems like, especially with things like YouTube, it seems like that. I mean, we're in the age of the open conspiracy, essentially, at this point, where YouTube is sitting there going, man, we really wish we could kick Russell Brand off, but we can't just do it outright. If only somebody came out with an article, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. And so they're just working in this almost reciprocal way. And I mean, you know, Rumble says we're fighting for free speech on the internet. That age is rapidly ending. We have the EU Digital Services Act. The UK Parliament just passed the, the Online Safety Bill, which, ironically, when it was in draft form, was presided over by the same woman that sent this letter, Caroline Dinenage, or whatever her name is. So, yeah, it's coming to an end pretty rapidly, this whole free speech thing we've been enjoying so long.
Well, I mean, this is the UK. I think we're actually... We have to remain steadfast, but I think we're doing a really good job in the U.S. as it pertains to the boycotts and the boycotts. The fact that Rumble exists shows that we have started to push back and we're gaining ground. Russell Brand, they can't take away his money because Rumble said no. Everyone else bends the knee, but I love the precedent set by YouTube. So what? Now all anyone has to do to terminate someone's account is just accuse them or have someone accuse them?
I mean, this is all awful, sufficiently horrifying for me to be like, all right, we need to completely isolate social media from governments. This is something that we've been aware of, or the Twitter files have shown that there are governments interested in accessing the power and influence that comes from social media. To think that, you know, other governments aren't doing it with, you know, just because the U.S. has been exposed and there's supposed to be efforts being undertaken to prevent it, doesn't mean that other countries aren't going to try to apply the same pressure. And it's for essentially the same things. They're looking to end the liberty to speak your mind and say things that are controversial. You've got that Jacinda, I forget what her last name is, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, specifically coming out and saying things that 15 years ago, if you said publicly, you'd have gotten excoriated for. You would have been thrown right into the bin with Stalin, Hitler, and all the other authoritarians, Pol Pot, whatever, all of them. And now it's looked at as something that people have become so numb to the efforts at limiting what you're allowed to say and what you can't say, that these kinds of behaviors from governments, you know, only the alternative media seems to take issue with it. And it's a big problem. And obviously we're all pretty much here in agreement. And I'm thankful that Rumble did what they did. But this speaks to the attitude of governments. And it's not just the United States government. It's governments across the Western world.
Yeah, I don't think social media, I don't think this is an imposition on social media. I think social media is happy to go along with it, and actually happy to have the excuse to ban the people that they wanted to ban in the first place.
I agree 100%. And the reason there are people that are out there that are going to say, oh, you know, it's because of money. It's not because of money. It's because of access. Because if they do what the government wants, then the government becomes friendly with them. And that's power.